What's up out there? It's Coach Pennington here. Every organization talks about culture, and every organization has mission statements, core values, words on a wall. The problem is, culture isn't the words of an organization, culture is the behaviors of an organization. And whether you like it or not, a culture is going to develop. One that's intentional or one that happens by default. And if you're not intentional about the way that you want your culture to be and the way that you want the behaviors to be in your organization, you'll get a culture on accident. And culture is way too important. I think we can all agree that you don't want it to happen on accident. So today we're going to talk about how to intentionally create the culture that you want, the behaviors that you want in your organization. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Have a great one. Your culture is already being created. Here's the problem. Most organizations start with the right idea. They sit in a conference room and brainstorm their mission statement. They come up with core values like integrity, accountability, teamwork, excellence. Then they print them on posters, put them on the website, maybe even hang them in the hallway. And that's a good start. But unfortunately, that's also where the work usually stops. The leadership team feels good because they created the mission statement and values, but they never create a plan to actually develop those behaviors inside the organization. But culture isn't words. Culture is behavior. Culture is the collective habits of the people in the organization. It's what people do when the leader is not in the room. It's how teammates treat each other. It's the standard people hold themselves to every day. So if leaders don't create a system to reinforce those behaviors, the mission and values slowly become decoration instead of direction. They become slogans instead of standards. People walk past the posters every day, but they stop thinking about them. And eventually the team stops taking them seriously, not because the values were bad, but because the organization never built a system to bring those values to life. What culture actually is. Organizational culture is what you do, not what you say. It's the behaviors that are expected, accepted, and repeated every day, not what leaders say, what actually happens. Culture is shaped by several things: what leaders do or don't do, how leaders respond to bad events, how leaders respond to good events, what leaders reward, what leaders punish, what leaders tolerate, what leaders ignore. Every one of those actions teaches the team what really matters. For example, a company says teamwork is a core value, but the only people who get recognized are the top individual performers. Then the real message becomes clear. Individual success matters more than teamwork. And over time, people will adjust their behavior accordingly. Because culture is not defined by statements. Culture is defined by patterns of behavior that repeat day after day, week after week, and year after year. How organizations intentionally build a strong culture. Great organizations don't just write values, they live them and they build systems to teach them. A strong organizational culture is one that has widely accepted beliefs and behaviors throughout an organization at every level, not just among leadership, not just among the veterans, but throughout the entire organization. Because culture is going to happen automatically. Every organization will develop habits, traditions, and expectations. But if you want a strong culture, you have to constantly teach your values and live the behaviors you want repeated. Culture isn't something you announce, it's something you constantly reinforce. And that reinforcement happens in four major ways. 1, leaders constantly market the culture. Great leaders understand something important. They are always marketing their beliefs. I call it beating the dead horse, because the leader has to repeat the same messages again and again. Just like in marketing, you have to build familiarity and trust. And that takes time and repetition. And people rarely believe something the first time they hear it. But when they hear the same message repeatedly, it starts to become part of the organization. Leaders reinforce the culture everywhere, in meetings, in practice, in one-on-one conversations, in team events. They use stories to reinforce the mission and values. They highlight examples of the behavior they want to see, and they call out behaviors that don't align with the culture. Over time, the message becomes clear. This is who we are. And when the culture becomes strong enough, the team begins to teach the culture to everyone. Veterans start teaching the new people. Peers start correcting each other. And the culture becomes sustainable because it no longer depends on just one leader. 2, what you reward and what you punish. Culture is shaped by what gets rewarded and what gets corrected. If teamwork is a core value, then great teamwork must get recognized publicly. Not just production, not just results, but behaviors. Reward the behaviors that lead to great results. Think about the rewards and awards you give out. Are they based on your core values, or are they purely based on production? For example, if a company says integrity is a core value, but they reward employees who cut corners to increase sales, then integrity is no longer the culture. Results become the culture. Every response from leadership teaches the team what matters and what doesn't, because people pay attention to what leaders do, not what they say. And over time, the behaviors that get rewarded become the behaviors that get repeated. 3, structure your environment to teach the culture. Intentional cultures are also built through structure. Structure is one of the most overlooked parts of culture development. How meetings are run, how practices are organized, how new members are onboarded, how leaders communicate expectations. Everything about the environment reinforces the mission. For example, if punctuality matters in your culture, then meetings must start on time. If preparation matters, then people must be expected to come prepared. And if development matters, then time must be built into the schedule to teach and mentor people. Leaders must also build in time and resources to reinforce the culture. Culture development can't be something you talk about once a year. It has to be something that shows up every week, every month, every season, because culture isn't taught once, it's taught every single day. 4, the events you plan and how you respond to events. Cultures are also shaped by rituals, the events that happen year after year. They say a lot about your culture: offsite meetings, group get-togethers, company parties, team retreats, celebrations. All of these shape your culture and tell people what's important. A great leader knows that every event is an opportunity to reinforce the culture. The more extreme the event, the better the opportunity to teach. For example, if your team loses badly in a game, it's a great opportunity to teach resiliency. How do we respond when things don't go our way? How do we bounce back after adversity? On the other hand, if your team wins a big game, it's an opportunity to teach humility, to reinforce the idea that we play to a standard, not just the scoreboard. Every big event magnifies the values of an organization. And when something extreme happens, everyone will look to the leader first for their response. How the leader reacts will send a powerful signal to the entire team. A great leader is intentional about their response. If they understand that every word they say and every action they take will cement the kind of behavior that's expected of the entire organization. So use events, especially the extreme ones, as an opportunity to align the behaviors you want to see with the mission and values of your organization. If you're in a leadership position, do you just have values, or do you have a system in place to develop the behaviors that you want to see in your organization? That's how you form a strong culture, because culture will form whether you like it or not, no matter what. And the only real decision leaders can make is, do they want to be intentional and build their culture by design, or they want it to happen by default? Great organizations build intentionally with their organizational culture. If you like this video or you want to hear more, like the video, follow me on social media, and subscribe to my channel, Leadership, Culture, and Mindset. Have a great one.